What's going on, everybody? It's your boy J Main back checking in with the people, back with another video. Now, y'all gotta bear with me a little bit. I just came from live streaming that bullshit, that terrible Ubisoft Forward 2022 press conference. Let's just say I want my goddamn time back, Ubisoft. I want my damn time back. I'm sick of these showcases. Listen, from now on, if you ain't a console manufacturer, don't give us a showcase. Give all your trailers and your gameplay reveals to the big three and let them showcase it for us, okay? Let them put something together for us because y'all can't stand on your own by yourself, okay? I just had to get that off my chest. Let me get into the video for the reason that you're here today. Now, let's talk about Call of Duty Phil Spencer versus Jim Ryan. Now, this Activision Blizzard Xbox deal, it's getting spicy. It's getting real spicy outside because they throwing shots. They coming at each other and they making statements. You got Phil Spencer. Listen, he's trying to come out and plead his case that Xbox should be able to purchase Activision and Blizzard and King. Can't forget about King. Because this, that, and the third. This is what we plan to do. This is what we're going to do for gaming. This is what we're going to do for gamers. And Jim Ryan, on the other hand, is like, nah, fam. y'all trying to take Call of Duty from us. Y'all trying to take the moneymaker from us. And I'm not having it. So, to hell with that deal. Jim Ryan is like, to hell with that deal. I'm coming out and I'm saying something. So, we had a few statements from each of these guys over the past week or two that, brings into focus what the big issue is in terms of PlayStation and Xbox and this Activision and Blizzard deal. Now, the the Phil Spencer quote, now he came out September 1st. This was pretty much after a lot of regulators had came out and scrutinized this deal in terms of competition for other companies, in terms of Call of Duty possibly being on Xbox only or even on Game Pass only, and pretty much influencing gamers to buy these games on Xbox because of the type of deal that they can get. And Phil Spencer pretty much came out and talked about how the partnership with Activision and Blizzard, them purchasing them, is going to actually bring the game to more gamers. And, more people, especially by putting it on Game Pass where it's, affordable. Now, I picked out a few quotes from that article because I don't want to read this whole thing here, but just a few things that I want to hit on. I'll leave the link in the description so you can read the whole article. But pretty much Phil Spencer says, while we love consoles, we recognize that they are not the only way people play games. Today, the largest and fastest growing segment of gaming is mobile platforms. To reach the billions of players where they are, and no matter what device they play on, we need to embrace choice. Giving players choice in how they play their games makes gaming more accessible and leads to larger, more vibrant communities of players. Excuse that. Appreciate you, Leon, for subscribing while I'm making my goddamn video. Anywho, choice is equally important to developers. Developers benefit from having a diversity of distribution and business models for their games. Choice unlocks opportunities for innovation and enables the industry to grow. So pretty much Phil Spencer pleading his case that, look, we plan to bring these games to multiple platforms. We plan to bring these games to Game Pass where they can be reached by PC gamers, mobile gamers, Xbox console gamers, and things of that nature. So he's saying by us obtaining these IP, we're actually going to put this game on more in front of more gamers on several different platforms. He also says, in doing so, we will pursue a principled path. We have heard that this deal might take the franchise like Call of Duty away from places where people currently play them. That's why, as we said before, we are committed to making the same version of Call of Duty available on PlayStation on the same day the game launches elsewhere. We will continue to enable people to play with each other across platforms and across devices. We know players benefit from this approach because we've done it with Minecraft, which continues to be available on multiple platforms and has expanded to even more since Mojang joined Microsoft in 2014. As we extend our gaming storefront across new devices and platforms, we will make sure that we do in a manner that protects the ability of developers to choose how to distribute their games. Ooh, that was a mouthful. Pause. Now, so this is pretty much what Jim Ryan was responding to in the quote that I'll read in a little bit. But there has been some concerns from regulators and PlayStation, it seems, that Microsoft is going to take Call of Duty away from PlayStation, eventually making it exclusive. Now, this is pretty funny because in terms of like exclusive games, like PlayStation is known for having exclusive games. Like people buy PlayStations for certain types of exclusive games. So it is a little bit funny hearing PlayStation come out and go so hard for Call of Duty to remain on its platform. But when you look at it from a business perspective, Call of Duty makes a lot of damn money for PlayStation. I believe the report had came out and said that Call of Duty produces like 1.6 or produced like $1.6 billion on PlayStation in like 2020 versus other Microsoft and other platforms being like half of that or somewhere, much lower than that 1.6 billion. So PlayStation is getting a cut of that money, and Call of Duty is always like the popular, most selling game of the year. So PlayStation doesn't want to lose that revenue. They don't want to lose that revenue by Call of Duty potentially becoming exclusive to the Xbox. So I find it funny when Phil Spencer talks about providing these games from Activision on multiple platforms or meeting gamers where they are, because if the situation ever does become to a point where PlayStation doesn't have Call of Duty, then he would be a hypocrite. He would be contradicting himself, because you shouldn't, as a gamer, you shouldn't have to compromise your experience. Based on what Phil Spencer is saying, you shouldn't have to compromise your experience to meet where that game is. So for instance, Hellblade. If PlayStation gamers had played Hellblade on the PlayStation platform and that's where they play their games, if Hellblade 2 is now coming exclusive to Xbox platforms, they now have to buy an Xbox to experience the same type of quality of game that they experienced with the first Hellblade. Now, I know people, you can play it on a PC, or Game Pass is available on mobile. Well, PC, one, you might have to upgrade your PC in order to run the game. So that can cause that, and consequence means you have to buy something. And two, if it's on mobile, you are compromising your experience, because I don't give a damn what nobody say. Playing games on mobile will never compete with the native experience of a console gameplay experience. So something like that, to me, it already shows me that these statements are contradicting each other in terms of providing these games for gamers wherever they are, gaming for everyone, everywhere. And you say that, yet you have these games that are Microsoft owned that aren't coming to other platforms, a la Starfield. You're not gonna sit here and tell me with a straight face that Starfield wasn't coming to PlayStation before Xbox bought them. Microsoft purchased Bethesda. Why? Bethesda RPGs sell great on PlayStation. I'm pretty sure they sell better than Xbox. You telling me they're going to miss out on that money? No, that was a choice that they made after Microsoft purchased them. It's clear to me. So, to me, these statements contradict what Phil Spencer is preaching. And hopefully Call of Duty doesn't go down that same route, because it would just make him look more of a hypocrite in terms of that. So, I'm going to move on to the Jim Ryan statement about his response to what Phil Spencer was saying about Call of Duty remaining on platforms and being there as the same type of package on PlayStation when it launches on other platforms. So I'm not going to read this whole statement, but Jim Ryan, in quotes, did say, "I hadn't intended to comment on what I understood to be a private business discussion, but I feel the need to set the record straight because Phil Spencer brought this into the public forum." AKA, I wasn't going to speak on this, but this guy, Phil Spencer, ran his mouth. So now I'm here to respond. I'm here to respond. So he's saying Microsoft has only offered for Call of Duty to remain on PlayStation for 3 years after the current agreement between Activision and Sony ends. After almost 20 years of the Call of Duty on PlayStation, their proposal was inadequate on many levels and failed to take into account of the impact on our gamers. We want to guarantee PlayStation gamers continue to have the highest quality Call of Duty experience, and Microsoft proposal undermines this principle. So, a lot to unpack here. Jim Ryan is basically saying that the deal that Microsoft offered them for Call of Duty to remain on PlayStation is going to be up 3 years after the current deal in place. Now, I think rumors are that the deal currently in place is for like 2 more Call of Duty games, and then it would be 3 more after that. So we're looking at about 5 more years of Call of Duty games on PlayStation. I know what he's saying sounds crazy, but I'm going back to the Phil Spencer quote first. Providing these games for everyone, everywhere. Why is that the only offer that you have for this game if your goal is to have gamers be able to play games no matter what platform they're on? Now, I understand from a business perspective. I get it. I'm for it from a business perspective. But when it comes to the statements that Phil Spencer has made, why is the deal only for 3 more years after the current agreement? Now, it could be that's just the deal that they offer now, and they'll revisit the table in the future. That could be the case. But if that's just it after the 3 years, why is that the case when you've been preaching this gaming for everyone, everywhere? It doesn't make sense. Now, enough of me getting on Phil Spencer. PlayStation, I'm coming for you. I really hope Call of Duty does get taken away from the PlayStation platform. I know it sounds crazy, right? All the hypocritical and contradictory, claims I've been giving Phil Spencer for what he said. To me, PlayStation has been lacking in the multiplayer department, especially first party wise. They no longer produce the multiplayer content that they used to back in the PS3 era. And I think Call of Duty leaving their platform, no longer being there for you to, use as a crutch, because we all know PlayStation had a field day with third-party marketing deals with multiplayer games back in the PS4 generation. They just kind of completely abandoned multiplayer. We had Gran Turismo, MLB The Show, and Uncharted, and that's pretty much it. That was like the big go-to games that people went to for PlayStation multiplayer. Everything else was third-party. So PlayStation doubled down on third-party marketing deals and content deals when it came to multiplayer games. I need them to get back in that PlayStation 3 bag. PlayStation 3 bag when they were giving us games like Resistance with multiplayer, games like Killzone with multiplayer, games like Warhawk with multiplayer, MotorStorm with multiplayer. Like, there were multiple games with multiplayer content available for games, and they were good. Like, people got to get it out their head that just because these games didn't sell like Halo back in that generation, that these games were somehow bad. They were not bad. PlayStation games, for the most part, didn't sell extremely well until about last generation. Remember that Aaron Greenberg tweet where he was like Halo had outsold like God of War, Uncharted, and all these other PlayStation games combined or some shit like that? Like, yes, PlayStation games didn't start selling really well until this PS4 generation, excuse me. So the fact that they pretty much abandoned ship on that, I need them to get back into it. And they're supposed to be doing this live service initiative, 10 live service games by 2025. I hope it goes forward. But I think if Call of Duty was stripped from them, it would just make them go that much harder in providing us with first-party multiplayer games, because I felt like they did a good job in the PS3 era, and I want to see that come back. I don't want to see them resting on the third-party, shoulders when it comes to these multiplayer games. They have the talent to do it. They bought Bungie for the live service expertise, so let's get it. Let's get right. Enough of this complaining shit. 3-year deal. Oh, they're not offering Call of Duty. So what? So what? If Call of Duty leaves PlayStation, yeah, y'all gonna take a hit, but y'all gonna be fine. There's still other games out there that y'all can offer multi-plat wise. Fortnite, Apex Legends, freaking what's the other one? PUBG. Like, there's multiple games out there that can fill some voids. of the multiplayer impact of Call of Duty not being there. And if you need if Call of Duty is a void that you need to fill, I'm not saying make a Call of Duty, but make a game that fills that void. It might not be Call of Duty, but try. I want to see you try. You know what I'm saying? So enough of this crying, Jim Ryan. Pull your fucking bootstraps up and let's get back to making these multiplayer games for PlayStation. That's all I got to say about this. Please let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this ordeal, this back and forth. It's a little war going on with Jim Ryan and Phil Spencer. I hope this Activision Blizzard deal goes through for Xbox. I think it'll create some competition that'll eventually trickle down to be beneficial for the gamers. Rate the video, of course. Comment, like I said. And subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Appreciate y'all. And I'll catch y'all in my next video. Peace.